Hello and welcome to this overview video for Stradivari violin, a meticulously sampled instrument that captures the authentic sound of a treasured, one-of-a-kind instrument from the world's most renowned violin maker, Antonio Stradivari. Stradivari violin has been developed together with E-Instruments and runs within Native Instruments Contact Player with full NKS functionality. Even those with only a passing interest in musical instruments will have heard of the famous string instruments crafted by Antonio Stradivari in the 1700s. They're world-renowned and only a few hundred have survived into the modern day. This particular violin, the Stradivari Vesuvius, was sampled in the Auditorium Giovanni Avidi in Cremona, Italy, the town where the violin was built in 1727. This special performance space is part of Italy's Violin Museum. The concert hall has been specifically designed with these particular string instruments in mind. To ensure that the painstaking recording process was as flawless as possible, nearby roads were cordoned off, parking lots closed, and residents of the city were encouraged to drive as slowly as possible to keep the surrounding noise to a minimum. It was truly a one-off experience for the city. In this short walkthrough, I'll be taking a look at all aspects of the instrument, including some key areas where it stands head and shoulders above other sampled violins. Although the samples have been precisely tuned in post-production, no samples have been stretched. In other words, every single note is a true recording, which preserves the purest possible tone of the instrument. There are three different types of legato transitions: performance-captured vibrato, phaser-line stereo samples for smooth dynamic expression, and user-controlled finger position. There are also 20 articulations plus an incredibly playable virtuoso mode, which combines multiple articulations for real-time playing without key switching or editing, resulting in fast and expressive performances. So let's dive in. This is the main interface with most of the important settings in the lower half. On the left-hand side are performance controls for dynamics and vibrato. On the right is the position control for choosing where any given note is played on the fingerboard of the violin, resulting in a range of timbre. These central buttons provide customizable key switching for choosing any of the 20 different articulations. Click into each articulation button to change the articulation. There's a full range of different styles, including 5 different types of short articulations, four expressive options complete with speed and tempo syncing controls, three dynamic performances, and 4 special techniques. quick note on the trills: there are half and whole step options controlled by velocity and a toggle for portamento or rebow transitions. The three different types of long articulation can be selected here. These articulations have three different types of legato, which can be selected here: fingered legato, longer portamento transitions, and bowed legato, which changes bow direction on each new note. It's also possible to force a bow change using the key switch shown here, and that key switch position can be changed just here. A quick mention for the modelled consordino option just here, which enables muted playing, a completely different timbre. Here's the virtuoso performance option, which is something a little special. The virtuoso articulation intelligently combines multiple articulations and legato types controlled by velocity and the pitch bend wheel, making this a great choice for freestyle playing or sketching out ideas. Play with high velocity for marcato and low velocity for a regular sustain. Velocity also controls the legato style, with adjustable settings and velocity response to switch between portamento or fingered and bowed legato. Combining these playing styles with the pitch bend wheel, up for spiccatissimo and down for staccato, gives you lots of control over your performance without needing to touch the key switches. Click here to open the mixer window, where you can adjust microphone positions and the level of room noise. Stradivari violin was recorded using 32 separate microphones, and the instrument is supplied with 2 different patches, each with a different mixdown of the mic positions. The patch I'm showing here has mic level sliders for close, mid and far. Careful setting of the 3 mic positions can give everything from an intimate chamber sound to a spacious concert hall. This fader dials in room ambience to provide additional realism and glue the performance together. There's also another patch that is lighter on RAM and CPU, and that contains 1 bespoke stereo mix. Click here to open the fingerboard options. Because this violin has been captured chromatically with no repitched samples, the resulting fingering is as close to real life as possible, essential for a realistic violin performance. By default, the fingerboard setting is Smart, which intelligently reproduces the finger and string selection of the performer. For example, this motif moves around different strings in the same area of the fingerboard, where the player would use fingering on different strings. Whereas this run of chromatic notes in real life would be performed on just one string, moving up and down the fingerboard. See how the engine chooses the same string in this case. If you're looking for a particular sound, for example the softer and more delicate timbre of a lower string, or brighter metallic zing of a higher string, you can force the engine to favour that kind of fingering with this toggle switch to high string and low string modes. It's also possible to force open strings by using this user configurable key switch. Click here to open the performance panel for precise control over dynamics and vibrato. First, dynamics. You may well be familiar with using your mod wheel to crossfade between different dynamic layers. Unfortunately, with many sampled solo instruments, this can sound unrealistic because at the midpoint between two layers, you're actually hearing two samples playing simultaneously. With Stradivari violin, special attention has been paid to these long multi-mic samples. All of the sustained samples of the various dynamic layers have been phase aligned in post-production. This ensures a buttery smooth crossfade between them. You won't hear two competing samples, nor any phase issues. A quick mention for this control, which assigns the short note dynamics either to keyboard velocity or MIDI controller. Let's talk about the violin vibrato, which has been implemented here in an innovative way. Traditionally, sampled instruments have achieved a semblance of vibrato performance in two ways, and they both have their problems. If you record the vibrato within the sample, then there's no control over the speed or intensity upon playback. Whereas if you use an LFO to automate pitch and volume of a sustain, then that sounds artificial and lacks genuine emotion. With Stradivari violin, you get full and realistic control over the instrument's vibrato performance. The characteristics of real-life vibrato performances have been captured with all the musicality and human nuances. Then these characteristics are reapplied to non-vibrato samples, resulting in a full range of expressive vibrato options with full control over the playback. Within the interface, you can adjust rate and depth of vibrato, and there's a range of authentic vibrato presets too. Of course, these parameters are already mapped to NKS controls and can also be assigned to any external controller with a right click. I hope you've enjoyed this brief look at Stradivari violin. To learn how you can integrate this unique violin instrument into your own music, head to the product page for more information and audio demos. Thanks for watching.